want to practice Orisha in Ilorin, or you want to carry Egungun in Ilorin, you will cause war. You will disturb public peace. Now, these are Yoruba tradition in the supposed place that are meant to be Yorubaland, but they are Emirate land. And Emirate means they are not Yorubaland. Okay? So, if you are stuck in between that, to choose between the real Yoruba you or the real Kwara you, that is where the Yoruba Ronu comes in. And the same applies to all of us. Should we actually be up in arms? I remember one time, there was Kwara and Oyo to know. Oyo is very big, okay? Oyo, or in fact, you will go through Oshun sometimes, and then you go to Ogbomosho. Ogbomosho and some other places surrounding there are Oyo State, okay? And yet, they still kind of share border with Kwara. Very big place, all right? I remember when I was growing up, Odua People's Congress, OPC, in one of their famous escapades, right? They were telling people that they were already kind of mobilizing army, Yoruba army, to go to Ilorin and take over Ilorin because Ilorin is Yoruba. So historically, as Yorubas, they made us believe that we must do everything kind of to make sure Ilorin or Kwara State is part of Yorubaland. But the point is, people from Kwara State, especially those from the 5 Emirates, okay, they don't see themselves as part of that Yoruba per se. Speaking Yoruba doesn't make them Yoruba. So, what am I trying to say? I am saying, if you are comfortable with Yorubaness or Yoruba tradition and what have you, to completely either go into complete silence, non-existence around this place because of their faith, or we have to pick up a fight to say, if they don't want anything Yoruba there, traditionally, then it is time for us to stop saying Kwara State is Yoruba land. It could be one of the most strong assertion that a lot of us are making. Apologies to you, my dear Yoruba Omoluabis from Kwara State, but you actually get the message. Or maybe I'm the one who is confused, right? Right? Imagine me being a Yoruba, and I am kind of made to believe that Orisha, or Yoruba tradition and everything like that is unacceptable. And then I still want to claim to be Yoruba. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm the one kind of, because there are many of you are from Kwara and you are allowed to practice your whatever you choose. Ahmed, my dear Ahmed Buhari, is a Yoruba young man. I don't know how he feels when conversation around who is Yoruba and the Yoruba agenda, Yoruba national ideology and the rest of that. I don't know how you place yourself in between that conversation, right? I know that of Muhammad. Muhammad is also from Kwara. Muhammad seems to be from within the Begore family, seems to be within the Emirate as well. So Muhammad will have a connection with the all kind of family bloodline of Fulani and the rest. Or he's Yoruba. He identifies as Yoruba. He can identify as Fulani. Do you understand that? Now, when conversation like this pop up, would it feel like it is wrong, right, for anybody to try and shut down the Isese festival because of their religion, Yoruba Isese festival, in a place that is meant to be like Yorubaland? For example, Bukola Saraki will identify as Yoruba when it's convenient, but he mostly identifies as Fulani. So, that kind of conflicting style, right? For political gain, Bukola Saraki will identify as Fulani, but a lot of Yorubas, when they hear Bukola, they just see that he's Yoruba. I know his sister, Bemi Saraki. I know that other sister, they are Yorubas. But that kind of, when conversation now comes around what is the Yoruba-ness in them, to choose side and defend this or that, you know where the pendulum will swing. And that's why I said I want to hear from a lot of you to come in and say, if our energy of somebody said they are doing the same thing in Ibadan now, and there is already Islamic bill given to Kolu during the campaign in Lagos. So there's going to be Sharia law in Lagos, okay? And there's likely going to be another Sharia law in Oyo State. And all these laws are to satisfy a particular religion, Islam, in their mind. So there will be no Christian law. There will be no Yoruba Isese law. So that you don't use Nigerian law on those who are not Muslims. But when it comes to Muslims, right, then you can use Sharia and the rest of kind of, you know what I mean? That confused state is already spreading. So is it all right for those who are calling on Yoruba Ronu, right, to kind of think about what I just said? Okay? It is a conversation because religion is in between it. Are you with me? It makes it very, very difficult for some people to touch. No, I don't want to talk about that. Oh, I don't want anybody's problem. Oh, I want your problems. Because this is a big one that eventually, one day, we are going to see the war between the traditionalist and this fanatic Islamic terrorist from Kwara State. Do you know what terrorism is? Terrorism means people who don't tolerate others. And they are ready to kill those they don't tolerate. They intimidate, they threaten. That's terrorism. Yeah, that's terrorism. If you should show such traits here in the UK, that you are warning people and you go to their homes and people are trying to stop you from carrying out crime because of their faith, you will be put under the terrorism radar. They will be watching you. Now, we have a country there in Nigeria where killing people is a crime. If you kill people, right, you're gonna get probably killed, or you get charged for murder. All right, that's how it is, Nigeria law. But in that same Nigeria, if the mob, if they kill somebody in the name of Allah publicly, even police go watch until they are done before they will carry the dust. You know what I mean? They kill in the name of Allah. And I am yet to see anybody arrested, tried for killing anybody in the name of Allah in Nigeria. Because by kind of design, you are the one who provoked them. Your religion or what you are saying provoked them, and in their reaction, they decided to do, and in their reaction, they can do anything. And whatever they do, they will get away with it in Nigeria. And that is why you saw them boldly saying that, so let's assume that everybody wants to exercise their own right in this regard, okay? And we begin to hear that people are killing themselves. These are not people killing themselves because there are invaders invading them or doing something evil and they are fighting back. These are people who are trying to like extinguish one another. Okay? One exercising supremacy over another. And to avoid all of that, just don't do what they say you shouldn't do. Okay? Don't wear that cloth in public. Don't come around and dress like a Yaolorisha in public. You'll be offending my faith. You'll be offending my religion. And guess what? The thing they are feeling offended about are actually the origin of the language they are speaking. A lot of our own forebearers, right? They were successfully, brilliantly raised. They lived. They aged, right? They lived more or less like better than a lot of us today, based on their faith, their belief system, their tradition that they sustained over time. Now, if you have another faith, of course, practice it. Eh? So if there's any time for you to ronu, you will agree with me that Omo, Yoruba should think, oh, eh? If we actually value Yoruba-ness in us, eh? I think trying to extinguish Yoruba's traditional norm for whatever you call it for peace, eh? Is actually not going to give anybody peace. So, and maybe, just maybe, I'm a man of little knowledge about this, but I've stated mine, and you can possibly add yours. So they've banned it. Wole Soyinka called the Emir of Ilorin, the Emir of yeah. He called him, "You are not the omnipotent or omniscience. You don't know it all." Gave you that kind of power to declare that you have banned anything called the Sheshe festival in Ilorin. So people like Professor Wole Soyinka, they are among the elderly people that possibly in their lifetime, as you know, as well researched and well read as it is, they have not been able to give any clearer definition or explanation on why Kwara is Yorubaland. Okay? So the story of being conquered by the Afonja versus Alimi conquering Afonja and the rest of that. You know, this story is synonymous with people of Ilorin or Kwara generally. Eh? A lot of Yoruba scholars and the rest of them, it is one kind of knot that they have been unable to untangle. And today, the likes of Wole Soyinka are like, I mean, why would you, a Yoruba man, because of your faith and all that, decide that the Yoruba tradition and all that cannot be practiced openly in your emirate? Who are you? You know? And Emir responded. He told him point blank, this is who we are in Ilorin. We are not part of that Yoruba culture you are talking about. And whatever gives you that illusion, the Kwara State or Ilorin Emirate is Yoruba land, probably should go back to them and tell them they lied to you. Okay? So we will not have it. It will never happen. And we want them, you know what I mean, to abide by that. What about the Nigerian law, secular law? Fuck secular law. Secular law, call secular law. If you try this, our boys can do anything. We don't want this religion around here. We don't want, this is how we want it to operate and that. Some people said that they will not try that with churches. I'm like, calm down. I told you from the beginning. Christian, Muslims, is everything they used in shaping that your Nigeria. How far did that go? You have them swearing by the Bible, swearing by the Quran, only to go there and further destroy Nigeria. You all are cool with that. For those of you who want to defend religion and all that. Abi? But if they have to say, oh yeah, Elogba Gemojade, go and bring out all the Orishas Agemos and tell these people to lie on it. And say this, you know what I mean? Even the appearance and the look and all of that is not for those of you who are like a kleptomaniacs, criminals, like kleptomaniac and criminals like that, to run away from public office and say, no, I don't want to. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. So your law can't be about Christian and Muslims. Your society can be shaped around Christian and Muslims. And then you say Nigeria is a secular country. I'm a Yoruba man. I'm a traditionalist. Should I hide my face? If I'm a traditionalist, a Yoruba man from Ilorin, so definitely I'm actually practicing something that could get me killed. So then I will have to move to where it is more accepted. Go to the upland of Yorubaland. So these are the things that I'm saying that you should run by. It's been a long time that they have used this religious and this historical what have you, to keep the Yorubas, especially Yorubas from Kwara State, apart from the rest of Yorubaland. It's a big thing, oh, but maybe you will teach me more. And that's why I said, you know, if they can, if we should continue to think Kwara State is Yoruba land, or we should just continue to live in that denial that Kwara is not part of Yoruba land. I say, yeah, it's not Yoruba land. And continue to channel our energy towards it. And what have you? Against any other tribes. So if they say Yoruba Ronu, what is that thing that is chasing Yorubas away from Kwara State? Or if they are not going to accept a second-class citizen under this arrangement of Emirate, that they would rather be elsewhere. Their point of call, Lagos. Now, they go to Lagos, some of them, and joined politics. When they joined politics, they started spreading the un-Yoruba messages. Unfortunately, Laya Muhammad, the champion of it all, the champion of ethnic politics, divisive politics, the champion, the pioneer of it, the APC, Egbekegbe's Nigeria's Joseph Goebbels, is from Kwara State. MC Olueron, that was warning the Igbos in Lagos that they should go back to Onitsha, go back to Anambra, and leave Lagos. He is also from Kwara State. Now, what makes these Yoruba sons, right, to leave their own state to another part of Yoruba land where their own way of life could be tolerated? Somehow, right, the way they believe they could fit in. And the Kwarans who will tell Yorubas not to add, don't add us to your Yoruba nation. No. We are not part of your this and that. Oh. These Emirates from Kwara who have distanced themselves from Yoruba, so to say, somehow, this idea of Yorubas are this, Yorubas are that, a divisive and kind of condescending ideas, as insulting as they have been, right, seems to have been a kind of imported idea to Yorubaland that has festered for the past 24 years. MC Olueron is from Kwara State. He boldly told the Igbos, we didn't come to Yorubaland to steal your land. They didn't come to Yorubaland to force Igbo idea on you. They didn't come to Yorubaland to say, oh, Ojo local government area, mostly populated by Igbos. They have Obi of Ojo. Where is that part of the Lagos State where you have a lot of Igbos and they have Obi? Obi like king, you know, just like Emir. And they say, this local government is Igbo populated local government. We have conquered it. We have taken the land and the rest of that. There's nothing like that. Okay? But these guys came to Yorubaland. When it is convenient, they will tell you they are not Yorubas. Sorry, when it is not convenient, they will say they are not Yorubas. When it's convenient, they will say they are Yorubas. Then this idea of divisive politics that has now taken life of its own in Lagos State today. Should we continue to channel our energy, renewing our energy on people who didn't come to Yorubaland to forcefully take your land, forcefully wipe away your religion or your faith, forcefully wipe whatever they can and tell you, we rule here? There's nothing like that. But they will want you to hate that more than what is actually dividing Yorubas ourselves. We are so divided, aren't we? The Yorubas in Kogi don't want to too much associate with anything, you know. I'm not saying all of you, because I know the true sons and daughters of Yorubas in Kwara, in Kogi, that they have publicly said, this is not our choosing. The owners of Nigeria did this. Okay? We are not part of this arrangement of northern this, northern that. Okay? And we are sad that the rest of Yorubas are not seeing us as Yorubas. Why are you seeing yourselves as Yorubas? How comfortable are you with the political permutation, the arrangement that has kept you almost as second-hand citizens in these places? How many times have you kind of rose up and gang up against the Yoruba interest when your political criminal leaders told you so? I'm only asking all these questions because when we say Yoruba Ronu, when I hear you speak Yoruba, whether you are from Kwara or from Kogi or you are from Ogun, I see a Yoruba person. But do you see yourself as that, like real Yoruba? When it comes to choosing between what they have taught you or fed you, okay, over the years for decades, what they fed your own parents too, and choosing the real Yorubaness in you, which would you choose? Would you not get so kind of agitated? Are you not angry right now with all I have said so far? Are you not upset with some of these things that sound so true, but you believe that they are not true? A lot of things that's what I'm saying, Yoruba Ronu. Nigeria divided us, of course. Politicians maintain that division. And in all their utterances, okay, they want to place you where they want you to be. Even though none of them has ever worked for anybody. Whether you are Yoruba in Kogi or Yoruba in Kwara or Yoruba in Lagos, it is the same shege that everybody is actually facing. Nothing special. But how do you see yourselves when conversations like this pop up? Would you queue behind the Emirates? Yorubas don't have Emirates. Yorubas are not Arabs. Yorubas are not Muslims. Yorubas are not Jews or Philippines or Israelis. Yorubas are not Christians. Yorubas are core traditionalists. And over time, of course, we have millions of our own descendants who have chosen other religions as they found faith and the rest of that. But should that then say or kind of erase everything Yorubas in us? Hmm? Should that then change us? How much of that has changed you? When this conversation about Ilorin Emirate and the Isese festival pop up, where was your own kind of stand? Were you confused? Did you join the bandwagon of those that felt like they had to respect Ilorin because Ilorin is not Yoruba or Ilorin doesn't want this or that, even though they speak Yoruba? I'm not saying you have to be Yoruba. This is the question now. How many of you have kind of, you know it. How many of you actually feel more Yoruba outside there, that same Kwara today? And do you see yourself as Yorubas? Do you know that as a real Yoruba, you should never have any problem with the Yoruba tradition at all? Whether you are a Christian or a Muslim, okay? If your religion says the Yoruba tradition or how you think they are doing it, is completely out of style. That's what some of you will say. Abi, the only thing that should be out of style, no longer viable this day and time, is the Yoruba tradition, Yoruba culture, Yoruba religion, the real Yorubaness in us. How many of you completely agree that it is ideal to destroy our shrines, Abi, and build place of worship for God over time? Because you see, why I said this is not to put your religion on trial. It is for you to question things that you have already normalized, when in reality, it is intolerance. You won't be a Yoruba man or woman, a red-blooded Yoruba in you, and you will cringe around hmm, Yoruba. Give it to Ooni of Ife. He's done it so well that a lot of us who are not, a lot of you who are even not Yorubas, you have fancied the tradition, fancied the custom, the culture from far, that you admired it so much that today, Ile-Ife, the source, is also almost the tourist headquarters for those who are finding or who are interested in tradition and culture, things you love to see. You've seen all of that. The display of that tradition, that beautiful culture of Yorubas. Abi, you've seen how Yorubas mix culture, style, beauty and the rest of that. Okay, partying and all that. To Ojudioba, a supposed Islamic calendar celebration day. After Eid al-Adha, Ileya, 3 days after or 2 days after that, Ijebus, non-Ijebus, Yorubas, non-Yorubas, they will gather together to celebrate success, beauty, culture, and all of that. They are fancy stuffs, right? So why should you be a Yoruba man or woman who claim to love Yorubaland so much, that, those who don't practice Islam or Christianity, they tend not to really have any right. Like, what right do they have? All those dead, all those killing of animals. They just kill the blood and everything everywhere. Nonsense. Look at. I can't do all that fetish. People should stop all these things. And this is, and accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior. And they should stop all this ebo and when they should accept Allah. Allah is the only way. Now, if they choose not to, and they are Yorubas, they have no right. Have you ever thought about that? No? Maybe you should start thinking about that. The language is gradually being threatened and going into extinction. The culture, the tradition, beautiful stuff. Things that you will see up close and they will make you appreciate the Yorubaness in you. We are now having generation of young people that are being told that anything Yoruba, in this case, apart from you wearing the clothes and all of that, everything Yoruba is inferior. Have you not noticed? Thank God for those who are actually making effort to keep it active or alive. We're having a generation that is, but yet, in all this, your religion as well, you all make sacrifices. You kill cows, you kill rams, you kill chicken, you kill things killable to celebrate different kind of your, your special days for your religion. You even have public holidays. Muslims have their public holidays. Christians have their public holidays. But and you have Christians, Yorubas, Muslims, Yorubas, and everybody everywhere, like coexisting. No wahala. But millions of our people who are not Christians, who are not Muslims, they don't kind of have any rights per se. They have to be told why some of them have kind of been so kicked out of where you could really see them publicly because they don't want to associate with them. So when this issue of Ilorin and the rest pop up, I was like, you know what? I'm going to throw it to every one of you. That is always kind of, I am a proud Yoruba. What actually makes you a proud Yoruba? Wearing agbada, dressing like these prince and princesses. Or having your nikah, having your white wedding, having all these things that actually symbolizes, the uniqueness of your faith. Beautiful faith you have. But behind all of that, your fellow humans who are also like you, but they choose a different path, then they will have to live within a rule that is completely on Yoruba. It's completely on Yoruba. And then when you see people who speak Yoruba, who are those who are actually like at the forefront of that, in my own world, I will begin to think. And that is where my own Yoruba Ronu kind of makes sense. If you have to think about anything at all, think about what actually makes you Yoruba. And maybe you should begin to, maybe that will help you to understand why. When they say Yoruba nation, there's something in you that rejects that. There's always something in you. Maybe something that is making you ask, I'm not actually, I don't subscribe to all this Yoruba thing. There are so many of you that tells yourselves, kind of psychologically, distance yourself from anything Yoruba. It sounds like something inferior to some of you. That's why when they say Nigeria, your hairs actually kind of a flare up. Nigeria. When they say Yoruba or Yoruba nation or Oduduwa Republic, sounds so much like inferior to you. So there's something in you that agrees somehow that anything Yoruba, okay, can always come second. So when some people said Yoruba first, you will think it's about that care, that brotherhood, that connection, and the rest of that. But no, when you probe a little bit further, a lot of them are questioning their Yoruba-ness. Are they, do they agree with what makes you a Yoruba? Or do they just fancy reading this glorious history of Yorubas and they are just happy to be part of that Yoruba? But they will never, ever recreate those history. Somehow they don't want to because they have chosen a different pattern. It's just like a common tag. Nothing meaningful, nothing serious. I don't know if you understand this better. I'll just believe that you do. Okay? Because I know some of you, once they say Yoruba nation, Yorubas should come together. And Yorubas, okay, should figure it out together and demand for a separate country in Nigeria. There is something in you that statement doesn't sit well with you. There is something. And you see this idea of Yoruba, or what has become our reality today, like the passion. You can see in all those who claim to be the leaders of, or parading themselves as leaders in Yorubaland today, governors, senators, reps, and the rest of them. You can tell there's nothing burning. There's nothing burning called passion in them about Yorubaland. There's nothing really, like Yorubaness in them. And that is the obvious thing you see today. Nigeria is more important than Yorubaland in the hearts of these guys. But when it is convenient, they will push their Yorubaness, Yoruba agenda that doesn't actually represent Yoruba's interest. Because what is Yoruba's interest? Preservation of our own real culture, language, sovereignty, prosperity. Something that should be the motivating factor for anybody who found themselves in a position of authority. Preserve, protect everything Yoruba, including the Yoruba people. When you love your people and you have a chance of actually making an impact, and you have a chance, that means you become a leader and that decide or determines what will happen to their lives. A real opportunity. So the real Yoruba-ness in you, right? If there is any that supersedes any other, you would have seen that effect in what is Yorubaland today. The underdevelopment you are witnessing, the poverty you are seeing, they are the good example of those who call themselves Yoruba leaders of not having anything to do with Yoruba other than just using it as their meal ticket. There's nothing in reality. So yeah, you tell me when you think or what you think makes you that Yoruba or whatever you in your mind and in practice too. Or maybe you are one of us who are kind of trapped. They cannot live in a world called Yoruba nation. Conflicted people. Somehow who feels like they don't believe that Yorubas have so much in common to be in their own country. And if the Yorubas are going to have their own country, for example, we're not going to be part of that. Don't please count us out. Eh? These are our Yoruba people from Kwara and from other parts of Yorubaland who have taken over power in Lagos. They publicly said Lagos is not part of Yorubaland. They said it. Yoruba, I mean, Lagos is not part of Yoruba nation. And you should keep all your Yoruba nation, what have you, outside Lagos. Kwara is not part of Yoruba nation. Lagos is not part of Yoruba nation. Does that make any sense to you? Eh? Then when election came, okay, they needed to protect Yoruba land. Yoruba Ronu. Yoruba Ronu, oh, they want to take over Yoruba land, oh. They want to take over Lagos, oh. These people want to take Yoruba land, oh. We thought Lagos is not part of Yoruba nation. So you see that word nation means coming together of all the Yoruba speaking people. Sure you get? That's a nation. And there are people who said, no, 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 no. We don't want that to. Because if that should happen, where is going to be our place? Eh? What are we going to, where would we belong in this, your new nation? This idea of what we want of, for Yorubas or whatever. So if you want to have a Yoruba nation, that means we can't do what we want to do. We can't actually operate this way. Don't bring your Yoruba nation to us. Publicly, they said it. Eh? There is this king in Lagos who actually, majority of their kings actually said that Lagos is not part of Yoruba nation. But during elections, Lagos is Yoruba land. Yorubas should rise up. Yorubas should ronu. Yoruba ronu. They want to come and take over. They want to take over this. And that madness hasn't even stopped right now. Yeah? But in that same breath, we can see the ostracization of the Yoruba and Yoruba tradition in a place that's supposed to be Yoruba land. So I'll go back to my question. Is it all right for us to stop calling Kwara State Yoruba land? Politically, it is not. Is it all right to stop calling Kogi State Yoruba land? Is it all right to stop telling ourselves that people speaking Yoruba doesn't actually make them Yoruba until they say they are? Or are we asking too many questions? We should just let the confusion and the the confliction as well to remain the same. And watch the further destruction of the Yoruba and the Yorubaness right before our very eyes. Now, you tell me when you have a chance of calling in today, maybe tonight, when we have a chat. So I've seen people's reactions, and I know this may not really change anything, but if this can get you to start thinking, because a day is coming, right? That I strongly believe, okay? A day is coming that Nigeria will push everyone to that state of precipice. We are almost there. Yeah, some said Nigeria is hanging on a cliff. Kind of. But they will push everybody there. You see that word referendum? Referendum is not war. Sure you get. Referendum means at its point, the people will finally have to decide on two things. Yes. One, if they still want to be part of Nigeria as a whole country or not. Now, number two, eh, when the conversation around or the referendum around determining the future of the Yorubas in this contraption Nigeria, no matter your stand today, today's reality makes it look like it's not going to happen, Abi. I have a good news for you. Or should I say, I have a bad news for you. It is going to happen, and it is going to happen very soon. Now, you see that word referendum, when it finally comes to gain the life of its own, in your constitution, that your trashy book as well, they will write it inside referendum. Now, when that time comes, right, and people choose that they don't want to be part of Nigeria anymore, everybody will then choose where they want to belong to. Okay? It is going to be gradual and gradual. Now, choosing where you want to belong to, even if you are not going to give me the direct answer today, that what makes you a Yoruba, all right? Is it by accepting what is actually real Yoruba, even if you don't practice them, but you respect them and their existence and their rights, or something that gets you angry, kind of, when you realize that you have to choose between your faith and the Yorubaness in you and all that, okay? So referendum will eventually resolve all of this, okay? The referendum is like a election, but it's a different election entirely, okay? It is a yes and no vote. What that simply means is this: a day will come that everybody will say, you know what? Let us kind of discuss this Nigeria. How many of you would like to continue to be part of Nigeria? And how many of you would like not to be part of Nigeria anymore? All over Nigeria. They will give you two ballot papers. One is, yes, you want Nigeria. The other one is going to choose what type of Nigeria do you want? A federal system, a regional system, a confederation. I'm giving you an example, two ballot papers. The third one, an independent Biafra, independent countries out of Nigeria, a referendum that will conduct nations within Nigeria to choose if they want to live. So the first one, yes or no. Now, if those who choose not to be part of Nigeria anymore, if they are more than 50% in this regard, it simply means, and let me say how they work that. It always happens by region, by the way, okay? Or geopolitical zone, as you put it. So that simply means if half of the people says they don't want to be part of Nigeria anymore, then you would have to give those people the chance to decide on their own finally, the second stage of referendum. And that second stage will be, for example, the result from the eastern part of Nigeria says 70% of them will rather not be part of Nigeria anymore. That simply means the eastern people, the people of eastern Nigeria, they have won the first right to conduct a referendum among themselves to now decide if they still, if indeed they don't want to be part of Nigeria or not. Okay. Now that would then give everybody the chance. For example, in Yorubaland, if the majority of the Yorubas decided that they would rather be an independent nation than being part of Nigeria, that would then give everybody who is Yoruba in every part of the place that is that people are actually Yorubas and speaking Yorubas with their lands and their ancestors. This is when you will now have a chance to choose if you want to be part of Yoruba nation, Biafra nation, Ijaw nation, Kwararafa nation, Arewa Republic. It doesn't matter. Referendum would then have to decide. On the other hand, a referendum that will finally gain the life of its own is brewing. How? Yes. Nigeria will push everybody to a stage whereby regionally I mean, geopolitically, right? People will begin to demand for their right to decide if they still want to be part of Nigeria or not. Like it happened in the UK. How does that work? Hmm? Let's say the Yorubas finally are able to send people with spine, people who have bones, people with sense and selfless people, the real Yorubas, eh, into your government, for example. And then there is this clamor again that we want to leave. And indeed, they make that move in that the Abuja somehow to say, we are notifying you. The Yorubas are conducting a referendum to decide if they still want to be part of Nigeria or not. Now, you see, this referendum will give everyone who is Yoruba speaking person in Yorubaland the opportunity to say to no, to Fiaka is to Fiakwa is Igbo. I'll come back to that. Olomaje, God forbid. Here you get. We don't want Yoruba nation. We don't want to be part of Yoruba nation. We are going to suffer. In this time when people are claiming to be minority here and there as well, right? You can't rule it out. Okay? Because if you would be very honest, right? Nigeria created states and states here and there, right? Within those states, there are those who they call the major ethnic groups. You see where, you see where the major ethnic group is in the, well, they are major, that's why they call them major ethnic group. They are those in power. Those who don't have the same population capacity or the kind of political cleavage or so, right? They are seconded in such states, and that abounds everywhere. Okay? So many of them believe that if they allow them to go with all these bigger uh, groups in their that will form these nations, that they will suffer. There is this mentality of minority group and that. Okay, but referendum actually takes care of that. Referendum will allow you, okay, to say yes and no. Now, if you say yes, a campaign for referendum will make you understand the type of country you are going to have by even seeing the type of people championing the campaign for that referendum, right? So it will give you an idea. So that will help you to decide if you want Yoruba Nation or Biafra Republic or not. The opportunity or that destiny will be in your hand. So which means the Yorubas who want to be part of Yoruba Nation, okay, they will vote yes. Those who want to remain as part of Nigeria, they will vote no. Then they will count all the ballots. So if those who want Yoruba Nation, for example, if there are more, which I believe they would be more, right? Now, when you now start reading the results, you will be able to see areas that the people don't want to be part of that new nation. So they voted no. Now, let's say you are now looking at the map of the results and you get to Ijebu. For example, 60% of Ijebus, they voted yes. Ijebus in Ikorodu, Ijebus in Ekpe, Ijebus in Shomolu, Ijebus in Bariga, Ijebus in Alakpere and all these places. Ijebus in Ijebu Gogogogo. They say they voted 60% of them. So by chance, that means Ijebus want to be part of Yoruba Nation. Okay? 60% of them. Then you move on. You get to Oyo, and you see that out of those who are championing, who voted for Yoruba Nation in that by a referendum, 80% of them from Oyo State voted yes. 20% voted no. Then you go up north, you get to Osun, and something shows that 70% of Osun voted for Yoruba Nation. 30% didn't vote for them. But in that declaration, it will be Oyo people voted for Oyo State, yes, for Yoruba Nation. That will be the result, 70%. Osun people voted yes to Yoruba nation. 60%. That would be the result. All right. Ijebu people voted yes. 60%. That would be the result. But when you now go, let's say, for example, Kwara, and they give the Kwara people to participate in the referendum, and the result came back to show, remember, I'm just making an example now. The result came back to show that only 35% of Kwarans voted for yes, Yoruba nation. 65% didn't vote for Yoruba nation. So by that design, it means 65% of people from Kwara don't want Yoruba nation. Sure you get? By so doing, they have the right in that clause for Yoruba nation, for people of Kwara state to conduct their own referendum at a later date. Even though the general result shows that general people, 60% or 65% people wanted Yoruba nation, from Ondo to Ogun to everywhere. But it will always be there that the Kwarans didn't vote for yes. So by that design, the people from Kwara State, who by their participation in that referendum, they are going to be part of Yorubaland, Yoruba nation. But because of their vote, they have the right to say they want another referendum conducted in Kwara parts of Yorubaland to vote if they want to remain there or they want to go and join Nigeria. Do you understand? That is what referendum does. There's no fight. There's no forcefulness or anything. Now I use another example. Let's use the example of Ondo. You know, Ondo share border with Edo. There are Yoruba-speaking people in Edo State. By design of that map, okay, they are Edo people. But they are Yorubas who speak Yorubas. So if they want to participate in that referendum that, no, they want to be part of Yorubaland, they will be issued that same right to participate. But let's say after voting, you see that proximity with people of Benin and the rest of them. Let's say they now voted 80% against, they voted 80% no to join Yoruba nation. That too has also earned them the clause in that new nation to say, these people from this part of Yoruba land, no matter how small they are, they have the right to say they don't want to be part of Yoruba nation again in the future and have their own country. What is the size of Malta? I have been told that the size of Malta is about 600,000 people. There are smaller countries than Malta, okay? Scotland is the population of about 6 million people, all right? All these people from Kwara, from these other places who don't want to be part of that arrangement anymore, in a referendum, they can choose not to be. In fact, in a referendum, they can even choose to still be part of that Yoruba nation, but with their own autonomy. They will be called autonomous regions of Yoruba nation. That is what referendum does. No war, no fight. People decide. Everybody gets what they want. Do you understand? So there's no point in forcing people and say, you are Yoruba, you must be. No. Referendum takes care of that. I don't want Yoruba nation. Of course you don't. Fine. I prefer Nigeria. Absolutely. There are those who don't prefer Nigeria. Sure you get. But Nigeria is going to push all of us to that stage. You see, those who don't want Nigeria, they are going to be more than those who want Nigeria soon. They are. And conversations like this are going to be regular. Politicians are going to tap into it as well. You know, they are using religion right now. They are using tribe, using all of that. Abi, it's not going to be for long. Sure you get. Referendum gives you the chance to choose what you want. It doesn't mean that what you are going to choose is the best for you. But if you believe it is the best for you, you have the right to choose them. Some of you love bigger country. Yes, Nigeria is mismanaged. Nigeria is kind of, ruined. Everybody is a victim. Okay? You still want that big Nigeria. There are those who don't. Tolerance and then, what have you? Yeah, there are those who don't want that Nigeria anymore. And every day, those who are supposed to make Nigeria lovely, for those who don't want Nigeria anymore, they continue to make those bad decisions that keep people divided and divided, poor. Agitation will continue in a space where you have this massive poverty. All of this intolerance are going to continue. And one day, those who don't want Nigeria anymore, they are going to be more than those of you who want Nigeria. So the conversation is going to go that direction. Even the politicians that are telling you today that Nigeria can never break, Nigeria's unity is not negotiable, they will change their tone. All they want is power and relevance, and they will begin to talk along this line. So referendum will become a thing. It's just a matter of time. And referendum is not a bad thing, even though they are making you see it that way. It is going to be something you're going to embrace at the end of the day, because it is that referendum that is going to define you. Okay? If you want to be Muslim and you want to be Christian, or you want to be somebody who don't have any religion like me, that you're right and everything is intact, something that actually defines you, who you are, the citizen. Are you a citizen, or you are just an honorary slave? This will bring all of this conversation to fore, okay, and settle all of these differences. I may be speaking like something that is not going to happen and all that. Eh? One moment. I understand, but they will continue to. Somebody said that they live in Ilorin, and there are people, few, minute number of people like this who are kind of love to bring up, bring up this kind of division. I get it. But there's so many other things I've said that I believe that if you review them, you don't have to agree with me, but you kind of have to think about them. All right? And I hope that we'll have that chance. That all of us will understand that those who are milking and planting some of this division, superiority conversation, we are better than you. We are the one who is superior than you, and all this whole thing, right? They are doing them in a way that eventually they will push all of us to that state where we have to ask ourselves, what are we doing here? What's going on? What are we doing here? And when conversation get to that stage, identity crisis will be resolved, and referendum will be a common thing, and everybody can have what they want. So if the Yorubas or the Biafrans vote yes, that will be the beginning of actually a real life, something that gives you a real sense of belonging, that is your own choosing, not foisted on you, undefined, unexplained, just foisted on us to find out and figure it out. We are unable to figure it out, right? And they won't let us try something new. Even to keep Nigeria still Nigeria as a country. You will agree with me. There is so many conversations that must be had. There are so many explanations that must be made. And in the process of having that conversation, having that explanation, there will be so many discoveries that are going to wow you. And you're going to kind of agree that, hello, who brought us together? Did the people who brought us together as a country, did they not know all this? Did they know all of this? And they still kind of say, no, let's force them together and see if they will work. There's so many questions, no answers. We will find those answers because we will have to answer them ourselves. No matter how tough they sound. People who are using religion to keep control of other people, right? And at the same time, eh, as a Yoruba man who is not offended that Yoruba tradition, culture, and religion that has been seconded, something that is our pride, something a lot of you love to read about when they make movies about some of these heroes of Yorubaland, heroines of Yorubaland, you shockle, you feel so proud reading some of these historic adventures of these people, but they're desecrating them, lowering them right before our very eyes, and anybody associated with them. And this is coming from Yoruba to Yoruba. This is not even like from anybody calling Yoruba this or that. It's coming from us. And if there's any time for us to actually think about us, about Yoruba, about our future, and things that are actually more or less like has been waged against us, there's no better time than now. It's going to get worse. All right. We are grateful to the Ilorin elders who did their best to put this under control. And when you say putting it under, getting things under control is by saying, it's just saying that the Yoruba traditionalists accepted to just mellow and cancel their event. If they insisted that they were going to do that Isese festival, probably by now it will be a different story. Okay? Those fanatics will probably have burned properties, kill people, and there will be no arrest, no prosecution until another one. So we are grateful to all of you who mediated and then decided to remind everybody that Ilorin may be speaking Yoruba. Ilorin is not Yoruba. And anything that has to do with this Yoruba tradition, this and that, take them away from Ilorin. And that should then put every Yoruba's Yoruba you are in Ilorin. Yoruba you are in Kwara, to begin to ronu and ask yourselves, how Yoruba are you? And how Yoruba do you really want to be? Would you be so much comfortable to keep that Fulani secularization, which the Fulani elite have used politics and religion to shape out? Would you love to remain in that quagmire of that definition? Something that says you are from Kwara states, okay? And there are some certain things that are Yorubas that are completely unacceptable to you. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. I was going to take course, and I'm going to take course. In fact, I'm going to take course. I'm going to go make myself a cup of tea first, okay? So you call in and let me know what your thoughts are, and then we'll call it an afternoon or morning, whatever it is here. So I'm going to be back in a minute.